Hey, it's that BMO chick. I hope everybody's doing okay. I am going to be making a sakatimi cake, and it's going to be so easy, so fast, so simple because all I'm doing is adding some ingredients that I already have in my pantry and in my fridge to a boxed cake mix, a yellow boxed cake mix. You can use a yellow butter recipe box cake mix or just a regular one where you use vegetable oil. It really doesn't matter, or you can make your own. I grew up with my grandmother making her own cakes for the most part, but nowadays I love a box cake mix. If I can find a way to make things a little easier for myself, a lot easier for myself, I'm going to do it. You know, we're so busy these days. But anyway, this cake is going to be moist, tender, so tasty, just awesome. So stick around for my easy, delicious, tasty, scrumptious sock it to me cake coming right up. I want to thank you guys for liking, subscribing, sharing, commenting, and being a friend to my channel in any way that you are. I really appreciate it. It's so cool. It's just awesome. So here it comes. All right, family, let's get set and ready. I have gathered all my ingredients, everything that I'm going to need for my delicious, tasty, moist sakatimi cake. I've got some sour cream. I use regular sour cream and I use reduced fat sour cream. It really doesn't matter. I think this time I'm going to use this regular sour cream because that's what I have. I've got a couple fresh eggs. Some people use 4 eggs. I'm only using 3. It's still going to be cool. I've got a box of super moist cake mix. I use all different brands, you know, of box cake mix. It really doesn't matter. Some chopped pecans, a little vinegar. I know you're going to be like, that's strange, but I do add a little bit of vinegar to make my cake a little lighter and fluffier. Pumpkin pie spice, cinnamon. You can use just cinnamon if you want. You could leave it out if you like, but the spice really adds another dimension of flavor and it makes the cake even tastier. This is a great cake to make for fall. A little vanilla extract. In those bags looking kind of funky back there are brown sugar and powdered sugar. The powdered sugar I'm going to use to make my frosting with a little milk, and I don't have my milk out right now, but I'm going to mix that powdered sugar with a little 2% milk to make my icing, my frosting drizzle for my bundt cake, for my sakatimi bundt cake. I've got a little non-stick spray oil for my cake mix. My bundt cake pan is ready. I'm going to preheat my oven. I don't know what's been going on with me lately with not preheating my oven, but this time I will have actually preheated my oven while I'm making the cake. So anyway, here comes y'all, that easy sakatimi cake. Yum! So I just dumped my cake mix in there. I'm going to add my 3 fresh eggs. I was always taught to dump eggs into a separate container first because you never know when you're going to get an egg that's not fresh, and that has happened before where I've gotten a bad egg, and I was so glad that I didn't just dump it into the whole, you know, batter. I'm going to just do a little bit of water, eyeball it. That's what the old school does. And this calls for 1/4 cup of vegetable oil. I'm going to use just a little less than 1/4 cup because I'm adding sour cream, and that adds a decent amount of moisture and moistness to my cake. So I'm going to start adding my sour cream after. Let me mix it up a little. You know how when sour cream sits in the fridge and it starts to get a little watery, so that's good. And I'm not even using my beaters. I'm not. A lot of times I just like to use my own muscle power and beat my cake up. And if you have beaters, you know, feel free to use those. A little bit more water. I am going to start adding about a huge wallop. And I know you're like, wallop, but I would say about 3 heaping tablespoons of sour cream to this cake mix, which is, thank goodness, exactly what I had left. And need to get some more soon. Sour cream is one of those things that I use all the time in everything, almost everything. So like I said, if you have beaters and you feel more comfortable with that, or you know, have an issue where you can't really beat things like, you know, arthritis or something like that, then use your beaters. But I'm good with just this. So that sour cream's in there. I'm going to add a little vanilla extract, about a tablespoon. I'm not adding my spices to my cake batter. I'm going to add that to the streusel that I make for the cake batter. So a little bit more of that water. You don't want it too loose and you don't want it too thick. You don't have to beat it to death, and you kind of want to do a folding of the batter after you beat it a bit, especially if you're doing it like me by hand, which I love. I'm gonna do, oh, here's my vinegar doing this thing again. All right. I had to hit it to open it up, but any kind of white vinegar, I'm going to do 1, 2, almost 2 tablespoons. Not quite, almost. I'm going to incorporate that into my mix. This time I'm just doing this light, airy, just folding to make sure that the cake is going to be nice and fluffy and airy, especially with that vinegar. Makes your cake a lot lighter and fluffy and airier. Soda also does it. I'm going to try to do a soda cake vlog this fall. And I have some cool recipes coming up for the fall, especially really cozy old school recipes when you're kind of indoors and it's chilly and you're not going out as much, and they're very comforting food. So this cake mix is ready. Here's what I'm going to do. My bundt cake pan and any kind of non-stick butter spray that you have. So I'm going to like generously, and I very generously spray my pans. You'll see some people do like 2 little sprays. You know, nothing of mine sticks. It does not stick. So what I'm going to do is half the batter. I'm going to add to my bundt cake pan. So just eyeball it. I mean, even if you make a mistake, not make a mistake, but even if you were to add a little more or less than half, it would still be okay. Because we're basically going to layer the streusel, the icing streusel mixture in between our cake. So one more little one, which is good. Where's my spoon? And you just want to kind of even that out a bit. All right, let's do this streusel. We got some brown sugar, and I probably won't even use all the streusel. Make sure that, you know, any lumps things like that. If you have brown sugar that is, you know, very clumpy or lumpy, you can always take a paper towel, wet it, put it on top of your brown sugar lumps and clumps, and microwave it on low and check it on intervals. It will soften your brown sugar. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I'm not going to use all that, and I'll probably wind up freezing some streusel, and I can use it for muffins or something like that. So I'm going to add some pecans, some nuts. You can add walnuts, pecans, any type of nut your heart desires. I wouldn't say, you know, macadamia nuts or peanuts, but walnuts or pecans are, or pecans as some people say, is awesome. And you also want some cinnamon. If you're not a lover of cinnamon, maybe you can use a little nutmeg or other type of spice, but the cinnamon really makes it pop. That's what makes it kind of a socketimi cake. And I love cinnamon, and I'm cool with cinnamon, and I'm down with cinnamon, and I'm cinnamon. So I'm gonna mix that, and I also like to add a little teeny drop of dash of nutmeg in there. So that's it. That's the streusel. You want to make sure you don't have any, you know, like clumps and lumps. You want to make sure that the streusel is nice and, you know, lump and clump free. And smells amazing. This is, I don't know, I think I said it at the beginning of this vlog, but this is an awesome cake for fall. It just makes me think about fall, and this is the, you know, mid-August. Well, not when I'm filming this, it's almost mid-August as I'm filming this, so I'm starting to think about fall a lot, which is my favorite time of year, fall. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is put that streusel, and here's the thing, there's no formula to this about, you know, oh, you have to, you know, you can only add this much streusel. No, you can add as much or as little of the streusel as you want. You can make it a very light streusely. I don't know if that's a word or not. I'm sorry. But you can make it very light or, you know, kind of heavy. So I want some more nuts. Not necessarily brown sugar, but I want more nuts kind of in the middle. So I think I'm going to just, I feel like I've got enough brown sugar, except in this spot. And I love nuts. I'm actually making this cake for a friend's, some of it for a friend's birthday. I actually told him they could come and get a piece. But he can't have the whole thing. So that's good right there. The rest of our cake batter is gonna go down. It's going down, y'all. Is gonna just top a little bit more. Just a little bit more left. Let's scrape this. I like to get every last little bit. You know, when we were kids, we would lick the bowl and all that stuff, but nowadays, you know, they say it's not safe, so I'm not going to advocate it. Even though I'm still here, and I did it all the time as a kid, but, you know, hey, they may have a point. So we always want to be safe in the kitchen. We always want to be safe in the kitchen. Sanitary, safe food handling practices, temperatures, cleaning up, all of that. Safe around the oven, the flame, especially if you're a kid cooking. So what we're going to do is just smooth this. I'm just smoothing this out. You want to make sure it's even as you can get it. You don't want it all clumped up kind of in the middle. You want it like this, actually. Voila! Alright, so my oven just made that sound. I'm going to get cake in the oven, 23 to 25 minutes. Usually with my oven it's around 25 minutes, almost 24 minutes. But I'm going to check my cake between 23 and 25 minutes, and it is on 350. You have to adjust for your particular oven. Alright, so 23 to 25 minutes, and I'll be right back. Alright guys, you see this cake is out of the oven. For my oven, notice I'm stressing for my particular oven. This cake took about 24 minutes. Your oven might take more time, might take less time. You know, I don't know. You have to adjust for your oven, but I would advise you to check it at about, 23, 24 minute mark. You want to get the cake out, and in general, when you do cakes, you don't want to leave it in until it over bakes, because when you take the cake out, it's still baking, carryover cooking, which is something that I had to learn about kind of the hard way when I would leave things in the oven too long, and then it would get tough, especially something like a cake, biscuits, pastry, stuff like that. So take it out when it's to the point of just getting done, because it's still going to, if it's any little parts, like when I first took this out, this little part was like a little bit still, just a tiny bit runny, just in this spot, and you see now it has like firmed up. It's cool. So I'm going to let this cake sit for about 30 minutes to an hour. I'm gonna go and do something else. I don't know. Watch a little Netflix, relax, or something like that. But I'm gonna let this cool off. And but before I go watch my Netflix, I'm gonna make the frosting so that when this cake is cooled off, all we have to do is drizzle that yummy frosting, icing, on this cooled off cake. So let me set to making this icing. So this cake has been sitting for about 25 minutes, and I'm just gonna flip it onto this plate. Don't be scared. Don't be scared. All right, so as sometimes happens, something on the edge of the cake is keeping it from flipping. Just hit it. Let's try this again. Oh, and around this edge. And you see how much cooking spray I sprayed on this, and it still will sometimes act up. But guess what? It might act up, but I'm going to get it to act right. So if you make the glaze too thin, add more powdered sugar. If you make it too thick, add more of the milk or the half and half, whatever you're using. Alright, So I'm gonna add, for me, oh wow. You know, I've been having all kinds of things happening to me today, and I'm shocked the only thing that's happened is that this just fell on my floor, and I've rinsed it off, but I'm telling you, I'm gonna add 2 little drops of spice. One thing, if you do not like spice, this is probably not the cake for you. So I'm gonna add a little bit more of that. Let's see, I'm trying to figure out if I might want a little more powdered sugar, and I'm looking at this and I'm thinking, yeah, I think I'm going to add another dollop of powdered sugar, and I had actually put this powdered sugar back in my cabinet. I thought I had eyeballed it perfectly, but nope. So let's see how this works. You want it to be very smooth, absolutely no little lumps or bumps. All right, let's see. I think I want mine just a little teeny bit thicker, so let me get another like 2 tablespoons of that confectioner's, that powdered sugar, because I want my glaze to be fairly thick. If you want your glaze to be like really thin and drizzled, then you know, you have to make it however you want it, but I want my glaze to be not too thin and not too thick. I think this is perfect. All right, so family, that glaze is ready. Time for me to decorate my cake and just drizzle this all over, make it rain. All right, y'all, I'm gonna add just a little bit of vanilla extract, and I added a couple more little drops of spice to this glaze. This glaze is extremely sweet, so you know, when I indulge in a piece of this cake, I do so very sparingly, like a piece, and then that's it, and wind up giving the rest away to friends. But I also sprinkled spice because I love spice and my friends love spice. But I also sprinkled some spice all over the edge of the pan and on the cake. So let's drizzle. I'm looking, do I want it thicker? I think I think I want this glaze to be even thicker than that. Some of you might be cool with that, like that, you know, that consistency, but, and it's funny because I looked at it and I thought it was thicker, but it's not. So, all right, there's some more of that confectioner's, and I think this is good to go. Finally. You can also just, you know, use a tub of cream cheese or vanilla icing for your soccatimi cake. I think this is good. I think, yeah. So, drizzle however you like it. It does not have to be perfect. And like I always say, everything I make is going to look so rustic. Which is my way of saying homemade. I like to drizzle some down kind of in the middle. Make sure it goes along the sides. And you kind of really do want it to, even if it drips down the sides a little. It's cool if some makes its way on the side of the plate. So I put a little more on the side of the plate. I actually like when a little of that icing, which tastes fabulous. I actually like when a little of that icing drizzles like that, because when people get a slice, if they want more icing on their cake, they can just kind of take a little spoon. I have these little tiny spoons and they can scoop some up and sprinkle it on their cake. So the last thing I'm going to do is tidy this up and sprinkle a little confectioner's sugar. Yeah, I'm going to actually shake a little confectioner's sugar all around, and my cake is going to be ready. You know what? Before I go, well, I'm coming back. I want a couple more nuts. Put nuts in the middle. Just a couple more nuts. You know, if you don't like nuts, hey, or you're allergic to them, of course, you will not be using any, you wouldn't be making this cake. So, but I'm just going to add nuts to make it look prettier. The top. I think my grandmother would be proud of this cake, even though I did not make the batter from scratch. I think she would still be very proud of this cake. She's been gone for a while now, but I always, whenever I make something, I kind of talk to her and think about whether or not she is approving, hoping that she is approving. So I'm also going to put a couple nuts around the edges. Well, there's one tried to get away. Not a whole lot, but just a couple. And this little middle part, to me, could use a little more drizzle over the nuts. I had just a little corner of icing left. I like to get every last little drop. All right. I'm going to find my powdered sugar because I want to dust a little on this cake. So I'm just going to dust a little powdered sugar on the sides of the plate. Not actually on the cake, just on the sides of the cake to make it look cute. Like I said, this is a perfect fall cake, or early winter, but especially fall when it's just starting to get chilly out, October and November. So I think I'm done. All right, let's slice into this. Beautiful cake. Y'all see that layer of streusel? That's the anytinme part. I don't know how I want to put this cake. I think I'm going to put it like this. I was going to like lay it on its side, but that's good. Look at that. That is money. Nice, buttery, moist. Even though I didn't use, you know, the butter recipe, but it looks buttery even. That sour cream. And sprinkle a little powdered sugar. Let's taste it. Let's see how moist. Look at that. Look how moist. Mm-hmm. You taste all that. Guys. Look at that. Look at the streusel. Oh. Oh my goodness. And it's like has a little crunchiness with the nuts. Y'all have got to make this. Let's go in deeper. Look at that. And I don't always, you know, I don't do mukbang, so I don't always taste, but sometimes I do. Look. Look. It just sticks to the fork. Wow. More streusel. Look at that. Yum!